Hi everybody and welcome to this video. My name is Rima and today we're going to talk about the key communication mistakes that people make. Okay, now when I'm talking about communication, I'm not talking only about spoken communication, the way I'm talking to you right now. This is communication. I'm talking about written communication. It could be emails, it could be texts, or of course conversations that we have. And mostly I've seen people make a lot of communication errors at work in a professional scenario. Now this could be embarrassing, it could take a toll on your professional relationships, and in the long run this could affect your career. So let's learn how not to make these key communication errors. I'm Rima and I'm going to share some tips with you, so stay with me. Big mistake that people commit while communicating, while talking, especially in a work scenario, is that they end up saying yes when they actually want to say no. Now, saying no is awkward, it's at times embarrassing, it feels uncomfortable, and most of us are not conditioned to say no. Because maybe sometime, somewhere in life, we've said no and we've been made to feel very bad about it. Which is why each time we have to say no, it becomes a little difficult. And that's understandable, don't feel bad about it. But remember, you can't always say yes because you can't say no. You can say yes when you need to say yes, but when you need to say no, you need to be assertive and you need to be able to stand your ground and say no. Now, most people in a professional environment find it difficult to say no because they feel if they say no to a certain task, they will not remain in the good books of their bosses or colleagues. Now, it's not always easy and it's not always viable to keep pleasing people. Okay, sometimes you have to take a stand and state a no, a very firm no for the task that is being presented to you. Because if you take on every bit of work that comes to you, which may or may not be your responsibility, what's going to happen is that you're going to get very burdened with work, overburdened in fact, and you're going to lose your productivity, which will create problems for you. So whenever it's required, you must stand your ground, be assertive, be confident, do not get worried about the repercussions, say a polite but firm no, and always have your reasons ready. You can't say a no without having a reason. It has to be a valid reason that will be accepted by your colleagues and your bosses. So remember, when your heart's telling you, say no, it's not correct to say yes right now. Just say no. It takes practice, but you'll get it. It's a simple word, it's short. Say no. Another mistake that a lot of people make in professional communication is reacting to situations but not responding to them. Now, like difficult conversations, there are also disagreements at work, on and off, maybe not every day. But whenever a disagreement happens or a difference of opinion happens between you and another person, it's very, very important that you don't just react in the heat of the moment, because that would end up spoiling things. It would spoil your relationship with that colleague and make you come across as very hot-headed and not professional at all. So it's very important that you learn the art of restraint, hold back, think about what you're saying, think if what you're saying is valid, and respond from a place of intelligence rather than reacting from a place of anger or from a place of ego. It's very important that you hold back in the moment. If required, like I said earlier, make notes, state your points in paper and come back and kind of explain your point of view. Do not just react in the heat of the moment because you will not like it later. It'll make you feel all embarrassed. At the same time, it won't create value because at all times, what you need to be doing and what your colleague needs to be doing is looking for a resolution, looking at a way of solving the problem rather than increasing the tension and escalating the problem. So remember, always respond, don't just react. Now, another thing that I want to warn you against, and a lot of people don't even realize they're doing this, is avoid crossing the line of privacy at work. Yes, it's a very, very important point, a very big communication, a very grave communication error that people end up committing over and over again. And this leads to a lot of people getting offended, a lot of chaos, a lot of gossip at workplaces. So let's make it very clear that workplaces are meant for people to work together and engage with each other professionally and only professionally. Now, if you end up making friends at work, it's very important that you don't treat them that casually at work. You can probably catch up after hours and be friendly with them. But at your workplace, maintaining the professional etiquette and behavior is very, very important. A lot of people have complicated personal lives, and even if it's not complicated, everyone's personal life is theirs only. So if you know something about someone's personal life, it's important that you don't bring it into your professional equation. So whether it is written communication, verbal communication, emails or texts, make sure you keep all the communication at your workplace extremely and totally professional. You don't get personal with people. You don't address them in a casual manner, the way you would probably address a friend or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Keep it very polite, very professional. Because I don't think anybody deserves to feel personally violated at workplaces. And a casual attitude at workplaces can lead to a lot of complications later on. So it's very important that we avoid crossing the line of privacy at work. Even this takes a lot of practice because some of us are naturally talkative, naturally have this habit of getting very personal with people. So let's avoid this. Let's practice professional etiquette, and I'm sure all of us will be able to work absolutely harmoniously by doing this. So avoid crossing that line and maintain the privacy of all your colleagues. Now let's look at communication errors that people commonly make in the professional environment. Have you heard of hitting send on your email without a review? Now let me tell you that this is a complete no-no. A lot of people write long emails. Firstly, I think emails should be brief, crisp and to the point. But it's okay, maybe sometimes, once in a while, you want to write a longer email. So people write long emails and they actually end up hitting the send button without reviewing their email, without checking for punctuation errors, spelling errors, without even checking whether their core message is being sent properly in the email. So I suggest that before hitting the send button, what you need to do is you need to go through your email one more time. You need to read it line by line, check if the entire message is flowing through correctly, read it like a reader. See if this email was sent to you, how would you react to it? Check your punctuations. Don't always rely only on the spell check. Make sure you're checking all the spellings and then you can hit send. Because God forbid, if you end up sending a wrong email, it could lead to a lot of confusion and a lot of complications at work. So make sure before hitting that send button, it's very important that you review your written communication. And this applies to text messages as well. Now, another really grave mistake that people commit while communicating professionally is that they choose to deliver important news, whether good or bad, by email. Why would you do that? I mean, if you have something very important or very sensitive to say to someone, to your colleague, to your employee, it could be good news, it could be bad news, but you shouldn't be delivering this only through email. I think approaching the person and having a talk one-on-one makes all the sense rather than just resorting to written communication. Now, for example, let's talk about bad news. If there is an employee that you want to lay off, rather than just sending an email saying that you have been laid off and these are the key reasons, what I would suggest is you call in the employee for a chat and have an empathetic, respectful talk with the person, and you might end up making the person feel a little better and making them realize why this is happening to them. Similarly, if you have an employee that you want to promote, rather than sending out a promotion email, what you need to do is you need to sit the person down and talk to the person and deliver the good news in person. You will see all that joy and excitement on that person's face, and you'll really feel good, and it would lead to developing a very positive relationship with this person. Of course, once you've had the chat, then you can send out an official email as well. But in the beginning, you must have a one-on-one chat whenever you're delivering anything sensitive. It could be positive or negative. The next thing that you should absolutely avoid is delaying difficult conversations. Now, there's always certain situations at work wherein you need to have a difficult or a confrontational conversation with somebody. It could be regarding productivity issues, it could be regarding punctuality, it could be regarding performance issues. Now, these difficult conversations will visit your career path once in a while, and you have to accept that. So most people, what they do is they try and avoid having the difficult conversation because they find it uncomfortable. They're not okay with it. They feel very exposed. They feel clueless about what to say. So I'm going to tell you one thing. Though it may seem very easy to avoid these conversations or delay them till a later point, the earlier you have them, the better it is, because it's going to work out towards finding a solution for this particular problem. If you delay it, no solution will come forth and things will keep getting worse. So remember, first and foremost, what you need to do is accept that this is part of your work life. Second thing you need to do is you need to have the courage to have this conversation. Now, a lot of people are not very good with words, and that's understandable. What you can do is you can take a piece of paper and make your points. I'm going to state these facts, and make sure your facts are facts and not your imagination. Okay? So you make a small note, you state these facts on it, and then if you want, without feeling a little silly, you can rehearse these points, maybe in front of a mirror, and then go and approach the said person for a difficult conversation. At all times in this conversation, remember to be respectful and objective. Don't let your personal judgment cloud the conversation. And yes, difficult conversations are difficult, which is why they're called difficult conversations. But go through them, get them over with, and I'm sure a solution will come forth. Never ever delay having a difficult conversation. A huge mistake to make in professional communication is making assumptions. That's right. Now remember this, and remember this really good. Making assumptions leads to confusion. For example, now at your workplace, if you share a plan with your colleagues and you want your colleagues to take some action on this plan, and there are certain deliverables that you need from them. Now, if you just assume that they've understood what is to be done and you're waiting for them to revert, you're making a grave mistake, my friend, because you're just assuming that they have understood what they need to do. So whenever you're communicating in a professional environment, especially if you expect certain people to take action on something, you need to clarify to them that this is the action required. State the action either in an email or have a conversation. The best thing to do would be to have a conversation and then follow it up with an email. So once you've made things clear, there is going to be no confusion. There's absolute clarity on what is expected from whom, and then I assure you that things will be delivered the way you wanted them. But just assuming that your message has been understood by everyone around you is a big mistake, and please avoid making this mistake. Absolute clarity is a must in professional communication to avoid all confusion and all problems. Well, I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video, and promise me that you're not going to make these communication mistakes when you're dealing with people professionally. And before I leave, there's one other thing that I want you to do. I want you to subscribe to our channel, Skillopedia. And once you are subscribed to our channel, what I want you to do is I want you to tap on this bell icon so that each time we upload a fantastic video for you, you will receive a notification and you won't miss out on any of our videos. So make sure you do that. And for now, it's bye from me, Reema.